Right now. Good afternoon, good evening, or whatever part of the day this is that you watch this show. I want to thank all my Facebook people that support me and back me on my shows, and they're making their way to YouTube and also to Rumble. And I have several other sites that I go to. I distribute my films to. This is Strange Reality with Dave Emmons, and I'm with you, I guess, twice weekly. And I try to get two shows out. Sometimes you can't because you have all kinds of technical problems. Sometimes you have people that get sick, and you have people that have other things that they run into obstacles. So and then I have to postpone and do again. So, but I try to get two shows a week. I'm trying and trying. It's it's not an easy thing to do the show, especially when you want to get the right guest. And I've got the right guest this evening, and she's in a long line of good guests that I've had. That she's got some friends with that I've interviewed, so I know a little bit about who she mentioned: Cynthia Crawford, Barbara Lamb, and it's so I know some people that she knows, and we met. So we're almost friends in a distant way, I guess we could say, Dr. Ponce. But my guest this evening is Dr. Ponce Lopez, PhD, EDS, is an one archaeologist, archaeologist. Never heard of that one. Okay, that's got me. I should have looked over that word a little deeper. The study of dreams is what that is, and a psychologist. She has been teaching at colleges for over 20 years and currently lectures on psychology at Nevada State University. She holds an advanced degree as an education specialist from the University of Nevada, UNLV, and advanced degree as an education specialist with her bachelor's degree in psychology. So I hope she doesn't figure out I'm crazy. But what are dreams? Why do people have dreams? How can you utilize the dream state to expand your consciousness or our consciousness, reach out to loved ones in heaven? We're going to talk about that, and use your sleep state to fully realize your soul's potential. Can we astral travel, remote view, and foresee the future while in a dream state? Can we control our dreams? Dr. Ponch Lopez says it's all possible. She has experienced paranormal events since childhood. We just talked about one of them. And she writes about her extraordinary experiences, including a prophecy in the mystical dream state. She's got the book, The Mystical Dream State, Deciphering Lucid Dreams and the Premonition. And we'll be talking about that. Dr. Ponch Lopez, how you doing?
Hi, how are you? Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Yeah. She's people. She's a friendly, upbeat person. You're gonna have fun on this show, even though she's talking about some serious stuff. We're gonna make it delightful. She's a delightful person. Dr. Ponch, how did you get started in all this?
Well, when I was a little girl, I used to have dreams all the time, and I just couldn't figure out, what these dreams were. And they used to scare me sometimes because they were so real. And there would be times when I would be afraid to go to sleep. So it started around when I was 2 years old, and I used to tell my mother about these dreams. She says, "Oh, just go to sleep. Don't worry about it. It's the way it is." So as I started getting older, the dreams became so vivid, so real. And the dreams started telling me things that were going to happen. And then I start seeing deceased people or spirits sometimes. So I kind of put it out in my mind as I got older. So I majored in school in psychology because I wanted to study what human behavior is all about. So as I started going to school and started learning about people and the culture of people and how we behave, the dreams started coming back again. They really started coming in again. And what I did as I was going to school, I worked for a major airline. And when I worked for this major airline, I worked part time where I could get benefits to fly for free. So I started traveling. And what really hit the button was when I went to Egypt. I went to Cairo, Egypt,
Hmm.
and I stayed with an Egyptian family there. And I started using my knowledge of anthropology, archaeology that I learned in school, but the dreams started coming in. They were really coming in. So I went back to school and started getting higher degrees in psychology. So as I started going higher into my degrees, I started taking a lot of courses about Sigmund Freud and also in dreams. What are dreams? So that's how I got started. And I started looking up psychics and talking to psychics a little bit and reading a lot of books on it. And reading books about back in the past during the, I guess, the Bible days,
Hmm.
about some of these famous people that would have dreams like Joseph in the Bible when he talked to the Pharaoh. So I got a little more interested in dreams and I started recording my dreams in a journal
Hmm.
and I just started writing them down.
Right. I've done that too. I've written a journal, and that's the best way to do it. But there are dreams, and I think you mentioned it in your notes that there's several types of dreams that you never forget. And I've had lucid dreams so strongly. I woke up and I thought, okay, I better write this down. Then I put the pen down. I said, no, I don't have to. It's there. It'll never go away. Yeah.
Right.
Those are the types of dreams that you're talking about that you don't have to write about. Is that Dr. Ponce? Is that right?
Well, with the lucid dreams, what I do is I do write them down. I do really quickly because sometimes if you don't do it when you wake up, your dreams are sometimes deleted and you can't because as you start, the memory is deleted. And as the morning goes on, the days go on, you start thinking about other stuff. And then you try to remember it. But some dreams, yeah, you don't forget about
Mhm.
with lucid dreaming. And I have it all the time, to be honest. And with the lucid dreaming is sometimes when you're in the dream, they're so vivid and so real, and you know you're in the dream and you got control of the dream. And you might say, well, I don't like the way this dream is going, or I do like the way this dream is going. And you're like the actor in the dream. And you have things that you're doing in the dream, and you have full, control of everything that's happening. It usually happens during the time of REM sleep. So in REM sleep, there's like 5 stages of REM. 4 and 5 are the deepest stages of REM. And that's the sleep cycle that we have. And that's when we go into such a deep stage, usually about maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah,
And
bewitching hours. Yeah.
And we used to say those dreams are juicy dreams. We used to call them juicy dreams. You don't want to wake up because
Mm.
the dream is so good. So in and REM sleep means rapid eye movement. In case it's where the eye is moving in your while you're sleeping, is twitching.
Now, can we improve ourselves in bringing these dreams to us at night? Do we have to have a kind of like a meditative mind, a relaxed mind, or do we have to get rid of all negativity and have a good sleep? If you're worried about a lot of things, worry and stress will cause you not to sleep well. So is this the antecedent of that you have to be rested and really at peace to have these dreams come to you, Dr. Pond?
Yeah, sometimes because before you could go to sleep, you can concentrate and say, I want to dream about this, or I want to concentrate on that. And you can kind of do that in a sense, which you want to dream about. Now, a lot of people have things that they want really bad.
Hmm.
And it's like I call it a vision board or whatever. But what happened to me, and this is a true story, I wanted a Corvette bad. So I would dream every night about driving a yellow convertible Corvette. I didn't have any money to buy a Corvette, but I kept dreaming about it and seeing myself in the dream. So one night I went to sleep and I was in a blue Corvette. And I said, no, it's supposed to be yellow. And then I woke up and then I went back to sleep. So I said, well, I got control of this. So the next night or a couple of nights, the car was yellow again, like what I wanted, because I had control. This is going to be a yellow car. So what you can do with a dream, if you want, because it's in the subconscious, you can concentrate on that and you can make that happen through your desires, because Sigmund Freud calls this wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
It's a motivation that we have. It's a drive. It's the desire. So you can make things happen through dreams.
Yeah. I
It's
wanted to
really,
ask you about Sigmund Freud, Dr. Ponch. Uh, Sigmund Freud is a controversial, I guess, doctor in history. Why did you take to some of his concepts? I don't know what you're. I know that you're kind of looking at his studies and what he's done. What attracted you to Dr. Freud's uh, studies, Dr. Ponch?
okay. I kind of felt that he was ahead of his time. That's what I felt. And he worked with Carl Jung. They were, I guess, a lot of people might have heard of Carl Jung,
Yeah.
Jung. They
Uh-huh.
were they were friends, and Sigmund Freud was a mentor to this man, and they agree on a lot of different things. And he talked about how we satisfy the unconscious desire and repress wishes. Excuse me, I got to blow my nose. Could you hand me that Kleenex here? Excuse me, my nose is running allergies.
Oh yes, and Dr. Ponch Lopez, she has an assistant, Angela, and she works with her on notes. And so I asked who she was a while ago. She was on camera, and I said, "Okay, we're gonna have two. Both of you's doing the show. Okay, so no, Angela, thank you very much for helping Dr. Ponch, and that's going to help her show out. Yeah,
So
Thank you, sir. You're so welcome and you're so kind. Thank you.
okay. So Sigmund Freud believed that dreams is part of a compromise and allowing the unconscious to express itself in a distinguished and symbolic way. So I got really interested in him because he was the father of psychoanalysis.
right.
And he talked about free association and he kind of like started all, but he was what we call a psychosexual theorist. Everything was about sex with
Yeah.
this man.
Mhm.
Sex, sex, sex.
Yeah.
So Carl Jung didn't agree with this. They fell out. They fell out about it because Sigmund Freud talked about it was the desire of the boy to play with his penis and masturbate.
Mhm. Yeah.
Kind of remember that, maybe guys, in maybe your classes that you took in school a long time ago. And also, he talked about when the daughter falls in love with the father
Okay. And
and the
is
boy
that
falls in love with the mother.
okay? So are they saying that the daughter falls in love with the father in not a father daughter relationship type, but a loving relationship?
Yeah, because what it is, being the daughter, I might say, I want a man just like my father. I'm going to marry a man just like my father. And
Okay.
that is the man that I love and desire is my father.
Hmm.
The boy will say, I'm going to with my mother.
Hmm.
Da, da, da. It's like reverse. But what happens is this: the desire is so deep in the boy when he's young. Let's say people put their children in the bed with them. You know how you
Yes.
might have your kids sleeping in the bed, and a lot of people do that, but they got to get out of the bed at a certain age.
Right. That's
So,
yeah.
yeah, so the boy is in the bed with the mom and the dad. So the boy, pictures this in your mind, the boy's in the bed and he's about maybe 2 years old. He reaches for the mother's breast and he takes his foot to kick the father out the bed.
Oh.
So that's what Sigmund Freud kind of talks about. Oedipus complex and electric complex. So
Right.
he talks about all that. So he says that what we do is when we are potty trained, at a certain age, we're potty trained. We meet the demands of society, bowel and bladder control. And as we grow up, we start noticing the difference between a man and a woman. Mom has breasts, dad has a penis. Then he noticed certain things. How come dad is shaving and mom doesn't shave? Sexuality comes in,
Right.
and the boy is really beginning to feel like he's going to be like dad, a man. So it gets psychological in a sense. So say before he talks about all this stuff.
Yeah,
And
I want to bring up a problem with married men looking at other women. That could be a problem too. That's that gets a lot of men in trouble right there. But let's take this into. I know the people who listen to my show. We talk about dreams. We talk about spirituality. We talk about ETs, paranormal, cryptids, all this type of thing. You were talking about. Let's start off with the list that you had here. Can you dream about your relatives? I know I dream about my relatives, but they're kind of like fast, and you don't really see the whole face or the whole body of that person, but you know it's your brother or you know it's your sister. And so yeah, I had a abduction one time that my sister's voice come through the hallway, and
Mhm,
she was dead 4 years before that happened. So she must have come through
mhm.
a portal. But you talk about relatives, and how can you ask or bring or manifest a dream of bringing a relative to you in a dream, Dr. Pons?
Yes, you can, but it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone's experience, but you can. And I'll tell you what happened to me. I always got involved where when somebody would pass away in my family,
Hmm.
they will always come to me in the dream after they're already dead within a week.
Hmm.
A week.
Weak.
They will come, yeah, and this happens to a lot of people, and they look so good. They look like they never passed away, and they come back at the time when they look the best in their lifetime.
I heard that. Yes.
So if they're 80 years old and they died of cancer, they come back looking like they're 20 years old.
Right.
And what they do, they want to relate a message to you. They want to tell you something. A lot of times they'll tell you, I'm okay. I'm in another dimension. I'm moving on. I have peace. Or they might say, forgive me for what I've done to you. They'll say that.
Hmm.
Or make sure that you help someone in the family. And I want to, in other words, like they want to break the karma, whatever it is, but it depends on what they want to say to you. Now, if you had a bad experience with somebody and they keep coming back to you and they're
Hmm.
haunting you, you got a problem.
Yeah.
You got to, and they will do that through dreams.
Yeah.
They will manifest into a black looking spirit, real dark and black, and you know it's them. And they'll tell you, and they will let you know like they're not happy. So that's when you need to see a priest or somebody or whatever. But
So,
yeah,
Dr. Ponch, these people they have a vendetta against the person that's having this dream, and they come in their dreams, and they're evil. Are we separating evil and good here, Doctor?
what they do, I'm going to tell you what I think they do. They come to someone that they know that have a psychic ability to see them through a dream because not everybody can do this.
Hmm.
So if you're kind of psychic a little bit and you believe, they're going to come to you to give you whatever message they want to say. And it's not necessarily that they don't like you, but they could be saying, little Johnny, who is 4 years old, you need to watch him or take care of him and don't let him hang around. They tell you like make sure he's not with certain people when he gets older. Then they go on to the next dimension to wherever they're going. And I don't know if people realize, and I'm getting into another subject now about when spirits, when they die, people say, do they go to heaven or hell, whatever? They know they don't. They have to go to certain levels of what they do. And a lot of times when people pass away, they see like flashbacks of their lives and they look at everything that they've done in their lives, like looking at a TV set, and they'll realize, oh, did I hurt that person that badly? Oh, did I do that? I'm so sorry. And then they want to move on to the next level. So what happens a lot of times people are reincarnated.
Yeah, that's what I've been finding out from
They're,
scientists.
yeah,
You're
they're
right on. Yeah,
reincarnated.
yeah. I know that there's different levels or dimensions, uh, and we reach that. There is no heaven or hell. It's just different dimensions, and
Exactly.
we either recycle, reincarnate, or we go to another dimension. It all depends on, I call it, how much spiritual currency you have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
So
love it.
yeah. So Dr. Ponce, it depends on how we've learned our lesson here on this earth, on this life
And
cycle.
we have to learn our lessons because when we are, if you believe in reincarnation, you're going to come back as every race.
Hmm.
You're going to come back as you're going to be a female three times or a male three or four times. And a lot of times when people are reincarnated, let's say they are male and they come as a female, they like being a male.
Hmm.
So, in other words, this female that's here don't like being a female. She might want to, be a male. And, whatever your assigned sex is, you have to
And,
kind of
uh,
deal with it.
and then come back and kick somebody's butt, right?
Come back to kick
Yeah.
somebody's butt.
Yeah. But no, I've been figuring this out. This are trying to figure this out. Maybe you have an answer for this. We're talking about, going to dimensions and passing away. What about what is best for a person to be buried in a casket or to be cremated?
Oh,
You have any thoughts on that, Dr. Ponce?
yes. Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I have been thinking about that. And I know a lot of people want to be cremated because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have insurance. And then the kids have to bury the parents with no insurance, or the parents have to bury the kids with no insurance. So it all depends on your pocketbook in a way. But there's a new cremation called water cremation. Have
Really?
you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Water cremation is the newest cremation that's out. I didn't know about it either till I started talking to some people and I started researching. And what they do, they have some place in this city that I'm in that you can go to, and they put you like in this tank, and it condenses you down to ashes like the fire. But
Mhm.
it's supposed to be even better than the fire. So the ashes are very, very fine and everything, and it's like $1,000 more than a cremation. Let's say a cremation is 2,200 ballpark.
Mhm.
This water could be like 3,200, and people don't know about it. People never heard of it. So when they cremate you down to ashes, they put you in the urn like they do with a person that's been with the fire.
Mhm.
So that is something that I kind of thought about here and there. And it all depends what you really want, if you want to be buried. And it's your religion sometimes,
Right.
it
I know
depends.
the spirit leaves the body as we die, but the spirit sticks around for about 3 days. I wrote,
Yes, exactly. Three
yeah,
days.
yeah.
3 days.
I wrote this book, Angels and Supernatural Entities, and I studied that with Jesus Christ, talking about that there are no ghosts. He also said there's no ghosts. They must be spirits that are coming through the dimensions. But I saw that I getting back on this cremation though, it's still, what would be the difference between a water cremation and a fire cremation to the body cells or whatever? Uh, would it destroy? I told, somebody asked me, said, Dave, do you want to be cremated? I said, yeah, but let my body alone for about 3 days so I can visit for about 3 days and then cremate me. Does that make
Oh,
sense, Dr. Ponch?
yeah. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
But because, as they say, when we die, we deteriorate. We don't feel anything because we're dead, and the fire just burns us to ashes. And that's the end of that. But how do we know? We don't really know what happens when we die. We're going by what science tells us, what we have read through our Bibles, whatever. When you're dead, you're dead.
Yeah.
But we know that we have a physical body that is dead. Yeah, we don't feel anything. We're gone. We're ashes. But like you said, you want to wait 3 days
Yeah.
before you have this done. Is that
Yeah.
what you're saying?
Yeah, I want to go around pounding on people's doors and stuff for 3 days.
Okay.
So
Okay, because you do have 3 days on earth
yeah,
before you go into the dimension because you have to fix things, you have to sort things out. Yes, that is true.
yeah.
You're right about that.
I just, those are big thoughts of mine, because I don't want to say how old I don't, I'm a young man still. And
Yes, you are.
you're a young woman still. So
Thank
we
you.
don't want to talk about that cremation right away. We're thinking about it. It's something we need to
Right,
think about.
right.
You were talking about also, I know that in the ET field, there's some interesting that you're covering a lot of stuff here. There's a lot of things about dreams. I wish we had the time, maybe come back, but there's so many sub topics of dreams and what they are and what kind of dreams they are. A lot of people will be interested, but I think what I'd like to get into now, I had I had a brother and my sister-in-law just they had a dog that needed an operation on his eyes and it cost $13,000. Yeah.
Oh,
And so do dogs and babies uh have dreams, Dr. Pons?
babies do dream,
Mm-hmm.
and they dream when they're in the womb. They start dreaming, but they actually do dream. And to be honest with you, a baby's cognitive framework isn't developed at all. So what they dream about is food.
Mm-hmm.
They dream about maybe the sensations of sounds that they hear or smell. And because there's no storyline with them, they don't know a storyline. So they will dream and they'll just like be knocked out because they're growing. But when they wake up crying, you're going to like, oh my God, did the baby have a nightmare? No, they don't have, children don't have nightmares till they're 2 years old. That's when they can read, when they can talk.
Mm-hmm.
But what babies do when they wake up, you're thinking, oh, they had a bad dream. They're just distressed because maybe they're wet or they're hungry or a loud noise woke them up or they're in an environment that they're not quite used to. That's what babies dream about. But dogs and animals do dream. And I just want to bring this up about dogs. Dogs dream about, I would say, their daily lives, like their walks that they have. They dream about their walks. They dream about chasing animals, maybe. They dream about their owner. They dream about food. And dogs dream about things that have made them happy,
Mm-hmm.
of the things that they like in their daily life. So they dream about this all the time. And they love to play. Dogs like playtime. So they dream about that, but they do dream about the meals. Uh,
And they do
animals, I'm
do they
sorry.
do they laugh? Sometimes
Yeah, they do. They do. And
they
if they're in the dream and they're having a happy dream, or
mhm.
if they're chasing, you've seen a dog that's doing this while
Yeah.
they're sleeping, they're chasing a cat or another animal.
Okay.
And they're happy because they're moving and they're doing what they want to do because that's what animals do. So they play it out in their dreams like they're chasing somebody. You go like, oh, look at the dog. He's running, but he's asleep.
Yeah. But babies just have, I guess, typical baby dreams. Dogs have typical dog dreams. Uh, when a child gets around two, I think you mentioned 2 years of age, and maybe three, there's stories about them pointing at people in the room, and they said, "There's Grandpa." Do they see relatives better than we do, Doctor Pont?
Yes, yes, they do. Because these spirits will come to them because they're innocent and they've probably been around them from day one when they were born as babies and they know them and love them, and they will appear to them to let them know, I'm still here, don't forget me.
Mhm.
And they'll point and say, mommy, look, there's grandpa or whatever. Grandpa. Not all children, but a lot do.
Mhm.
And when children are 2 years old, this is when they're supposed to speak a complete sentence, a verb, a noun, and they're cognitive when they're about 2 years old. And this is when the nightmares start. That's when the storyline gets scary for them and they see the bad ghosts or bad whatever. And they do come to children when they're young.
Mhm.
A lot of these bad spirits do go to them and scare them. And I think a lot of aliens come to them when they're young.
Yes. Why would ETs come to a baby? I guess because they're checking their DNA out and their chromosomes, Dr. Ponch.
They're checking out their DNA, they're studying them, they're downloading them for the future. Maybe they're going to have them on a mission. So they start watching what they're doing at a young age. They pick certain people. It's not everybody they pick. They pick certain people and they will start appearing before them. And usually some children will remember them as a playmate. They
Hmm.
might think it's a playmate or something. And then when they see them again, they're not afraid. unless it's a bad alien or something that might have done something to them. But most of the time, children will kind of remember and say, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I was with mom, and I remember seeing something, but I can't remember anymore."
Hmm.
And then it might come back years later if
Okay.
the aliens come back in their
Okay.
lives.
You opened us up this ET bag, and that's my one of my
That's your thing, yeah.
specialties. But because I've had a lot of experiences, but when an ET follows somebody at birth, and they follow them throughout their life a lot of times, like they have me, and I know
Oh,
a lot of people, they say, why me is one of the questions they always say when an
right.
ET experience or a paranormal experience. They'll ask why me, and secondly, they'll ask, okay, why did they pick me out, early on in life and follow me? Do you know, Dr. Ponch, why they pick certain people out? You kind of alluded to it a little bit.
I, I kind of think that whatever, I think everybody has a mission in life or whatever it is. And I think there's certain people, and I kind of think that certain aliens are here to boost our DNA, maybe, or to, it's like they're observing us in a sense, and they come, they stay with us, and what happens to us if they do? We do good things for this planet to help this planet. And a lot of these people that have been approached by aliens have done a lot of good stuff, have given out a lot of good information, talked about what they have gone through. And it opens up other people's eyes that we're not the only ones in this universe.
Mm.
And people think we are. And I'm going to be honest, we are so primitive. Those aliens are 1 million years ahead of us in technology,
Yes.
and they have helped us with technology. Some of these people that they might have been following from day one, they could be coming out really good at mathematics or
Mm.
science, or they become doctors or whatever. So there's a reason for everything. And I'm jumping really fast now on this alien thing. Is that
Sure,
okay?
that's fine because I want to take you to, ETs. Well, I'm not going to, put you in that, a corner,
Okay.
but uh, I want to talk to you about. You said, "What are dreams?" That's one big thing. What are
Okay.
dreams? Number one, but yeah, Einstein, Tesla, von Braun, every one of those guys said, "Where did you get your knowledge?" And they said it comes from the outside and it comes in. And they said the brain is just a suppository, a memory piece, and but ideas come in from the outside.
Hmm.
Do dreams come in from the outside, Dr. Pont?
Yes, they do. They do. Because you might have a dream about something, and it could be a problem that could have been going along, and you have this dream. Let's say if you're a mathematician or a scientist, this dream hits you and you wake up and say, "Oh, I think I know what the answer is. I had a dream about it. Let's figure it out. Let's test it out." I think sometimes it's downloaded into us at the right time, or it come to us from someone or somewhere. Yes, there's we do have that. And like these people you're talking about, they have very high IQs, right? Their IQs, Tesla, I think his IQ is 160. I don't know. I
Yeah,
kind of think
yeah, I think it's about
it's
168. You're right.
about 168. And I know Einstein had a high IQ, and certain people have very, very high IQs, but they've done a lot for this world. They've done something one way or another on this mission or whatever it is. But I think it's from aliens,
Yeah, I think the information comes from the universe and comes
from the
within us.
universe.
I talk to a lot of people I've had on my show. And manifestation, you mentioned that a while ago that you can draw in a dream and talk about having this dream. And you talked about having, manifesting a Corvette and you wanted a certain color one. Now, manifesting, I can't do that because apparently I'm not getting anything that I'm wishing for. So, how do you manifest in your psychology and everything, your background? You've learned a lot. And could you tell us what manifesting something to you is, Dr. Pont?
Well, all of my wishes have come true,
Yeah.
all of them. I wanted an education badly, so I got 5 degrees. I wanted to work for an airline. I've been all over the world. I wanted to meet a very nice man, and I did. He passed away about 5 years ago.
Sorry.
And there were certain things in my life that I wanted so bad. So I said, I got to make this happen. I'm a female. I'm not a male, and I got to probably meet people, as they say, network,
Mhm.
or let someone mentor me, which I did. I had a lot of people, men and women, to mentor me. So there's still some other things that I want to do, some other couple little more things that I want to do. But manifest, you have to make sure that, do you really want it? Do you want to be rich? Do you want to have a lot of money? Do you want fame? Do you want people to respect you? So you have to kind of figure it out what you really want. You know how people say, I want to be a famous singer,
Mhm.
and then they become very famous because they work hard at it, or they might want to be a famous scientist or famous this or that, just like being the president of the United States.
Now, is there a block or certain behavior that actually blocks that manifestation? It's like I wanted to be a big time music writer. I played music 42 years and I never
Oh,
did. I wrote 4 books in the last 3 years. I want to sell books. And I'm trying to manifest that when I go to bed at night, please God, be easy on me tonight. And give me man, let me manifest this and do this and do that. This is what I want. These are my goals. And you just work them. Sometimes people can work and work and work and do the right thing, but still not be rewarded. Is that right, Dr. Pons?
right. So what do you want to do right now more than anything in the world right now? What do you want to do? You want to write another book? Do you want to be a musician? Do you want to do a musical score at a Broadway play?
I,
What do
I
you really want to do
yeah,
right now?
I like to continue writing, and I love to travel. I really do, and I love to travel in your neck of the woods in Nevada and Arizona and those places. Those are
Okay,
beautiful places. I'm going to go out there this year.
okay.
Sedona is really a beautiful place.
Beautiful. Oh, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I want to mention real quick here because we're on out of time. I'm gonna go down this list real quick, and there's different dream states: daydreams, epic dreams, false awakening dreams, lucid dreams, nightmares, night terrors, progressive dreams, prophetic dreams. Let's stop at prophetic dreams. And do are people told about the future? And is this coming from the outside in, Dr. Ponch? What is a prophetic dream?
Told about the future. Yes, there are people that can tell you about the future. I'm going to look at my notes to make sure I got it right here. Uh, let's say you have a psychic dream about
Hmm.
something, a psychic, let's say a psychic dream. And this dream might tell you uh, something's going to happen, some event's going to happen. That happened to me, actually. And you might believe it and you might not believe it. You might say, that's not going to happen. But you know what? I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen.
Hmm.
We're going to have a polar shift. I had
Yes.
to think about that.
Yes.
This has been predicted a long time ago, but it's happening now because we have volcanoes, earthquakes.
Mhm.
The weather is changing every day. One day here is 70 degrees, the next day here is 98 degrees. And this has never happened where the weather keeps changing. We were supposed to have this polar shift, I believe, in 2000. I think, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
And when we have it, there will be no more Florida.
Yeah.
All the Caribbeans will be wiped out, and the United States would be cut in half. And the safest place in the world would be New Zealand.
Really?
Believe it or not. Yeah.
Hmm.
This is a dream I had.
No.
And I believe that the world is going to flip flop in a sense, and everything is going to, and only people that are like outdoor type people, survival people, they're going to make it. Little people that don't do anything, they're not going to make it. The world is, it's going to be a cleansing of this planet. Now that's been predicted
Mm.
and it's happening now. Hopefully it doesn't happen in my lifetime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's going to happen fast. This flip is or it's going to be
I
slow.
think it's going to, I'll be honest with you, I think it's going to happen possibly in the next 50 to 100 years from now,
Yeah.
for sure.
It's
I
slowly.
won't be around, but I think it's going to be 50 to 100 years from now. It's going to be a polar shift. And a lot of people are not going to make it. And I hate to talk like this, but so many people, Nostradamus said it. Do you remember a lady named Ruth Montgomery?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
You kind of heard of her?
Yeah, I kind of heard of her.
She
I don't know
she
much
was
about
an automatic what they call a she would hit the typewriter. She's dead now, and
Yeah.
her psychic stuff would come out on a typewriter.
She's,
And her name was Ruth Montgomery. If you ever look her up, you'll see her.
I
And
know the
she,
concept. Yeah.
yeah,
All writing. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Dr. Martinez.
she talked about Atlantis
Okay.
and all that, and that's another story. But anyway, I think the polar shift is coming. It's coming. And there's nothing we can do. Just be prepared for it. That's all we can do. And probably be don't live in California for sure, like these coastlines. No,
Yeah.
no, no. But
Yeah.
it's going to happen gradually.
Yeah. I don't want to get into religion much, but you're talking about the rapture also. Is that part of what they talked about in the Bible in the ancient times?
And
That,
I don't talk about religion either. I really don't. So that I don't know. I
yeah.
don't know. I don't talk about religion, but I think that is just the way it is. And I want to bring up something else that's quite interesting that I had a dream about.
Okay.
You know how we have, well, remember when Einstein worked on the atomic bomb
Hmm.
at the University of Chicago, Albert Einstein. We kind
Right.
of remember that a little
Mhm.
bit, the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Okay. And then when we had that war, remember the war we had with the Germans and Japan, and we bombed Hiroshima and all that. We were getting a little powerful here, right? So the aliens, what they do, from what I learned, they don't get involved with us with certain things because this is supposed to be a planet of free will.
Yes. Yes.
It's a planet of free will. So they don't get involved in our politics. They don't get involved in things that we do. They don't want to be landing here where we can see them because we will panic unbelievable. We'll start shooting and we want to kill them, but then we'll be friendly. Oh, I want to meet you. I want to, I want to see an alien.
Yeah.
So what they're doing is they're kind of monitoring us and watching us. But the only time these aliens are going to get involved with us if we start moving this atomic bomb again,
Yes. I know.
they're going to stop it because if we do that, it'll throw all the other planets off orbit.
Yeah. Do you think that the frequency of the sightings now with the UFOs is a lot more than it used to be, and things are speeding up, and we're moving to this reset that you're talking about in a much faster manner now? And all
Yes,
the aliens and the Pentagon actually did come out and say that there are alien bases under the water, and they're just waiting here, and they've been watching us, been here for thousands of years,
they're
and so
watching us.
they're watching us, and a lot of people think they're bad. They're not really bad. There might be some bad ones but who's running things now? They say that presidents are puppets, and they're being run by the elites. Uh,
Oh, you're talking about the reptilians. You're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about the reptilians and
yeah,
Rothschilds and the
yeah,
Rockefellers and
yeah.
the people in politics that they're running New World Order and all they're running the show and all that. And some of the aliens, the good guys are working with them, and some of the good aliens are trying to help us from blowing this planet up or whatever we're going to do. Oh yes, that, that is
That, that
absolutely.
that is like that's the good and evil on this earth.
It's
That's
the
what they're
fight. It's
talking
the
about.
good and evil fighting, and then I think what's going to happen eventually, after we go through so much bad stuff, maybe people will start becoming good again. Spirituality might get better because our grief and prejudice is getting worse
Yeah,
and worse.
yeah,
It's declining.
yeah. I admit that this world needs a little bit of
People,
change.
I
Uh,
mean, it's increasing. Yeah, I'm sorry.
right. And one other topic we have several, lots of them here. I got so many, and I looked at all you got some interesting notes, and I'd love to cover all of them. But we are just moving so fast. I wanted to ask you, when this time comes and the Earth shifts and we're here, can we astral project ourselves or astral travel, Doctor Ponch?
I think the people that are very psychic, that are very strong spiritually, they might.
Yeah.
If they learned the technique, they might. And people are studying stuff now, how to be prepared for all this. Yes, and there was one, I don't really want to mention her name, but she's deceased now, and I know you know her. She talked about this a lot, and she said that she said that the world was splitting. Have you heard that? That the
Yeah.
world was splitting, dividing or something,
Mhm.
and there was going to be the evil people were going to stay here, and the new world was going to be the new people or something. That's kind of deep, but yeah, I think people are preparing.
Yeah. With dreams, and we talk about remote viewing, and people can go in, they have to go into a dream state, I guess, to go into remote viewing. Is that right, Dr. Pont?
Okay, remote viewing. Okay, it's the praxis of attempting to sense information from a distance or an unseen subject through the mind. There are some people that are very good at this. And you might remember the Russians were doing that for a while. I think they were kind of good in doing that. It's a very hard technique. I think the CIA maybe was working on this. I don't know. Uh,
Yuri Geller also, he's worked on it, and he's with the
yes.
CIA, and I know him really well. We write each other.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, he was on my show about 4 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, I have. You still have the tape on it, right?
No, I tell you what,
Oh,
the person who had the tape, I wrote him, and I think he ran into some cancer and he had some problems. So I never was able to get the tape from him that of that recording, and he had the recording, not me. So he was recording the show.
oh, okay.
He was kind of like the producer, but I never was able to get that back. But one day, maybe I can get Yuri Geller back on.
I hope so. I really do.
Yeah,
I think your show is going to get really popular now. I don't know. I just feel it. You're going to get really, really popular. You're going to be on television soon.
oh, yeah, really.
I feel it. I do.
You got a remote viewing there, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, a real viewing telepathy I'm using right now. I'm reading your mind a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
you're
Yeah.
gonna be on a TV show.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I do kind of a video TV show, and my background is in journalism and music and all this other stuff.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
but you're never too old, I guess, to succeed. Is that right?
You're never too old to go to school or to see. And if there's something that you really want and you have never achieved it when you were younger, don't give up. Just keep trying. And I always tell people that just keep doing. Like a lot of times people go to college at a late age,
Hmm.
60, 70 years old. There's nothing wrong with that because knowledge is good. So if you want to be a teacher, if you want to do this and that, as long as your body is healthy, you can handle it. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. I look at this. You talk about. I want to talk about these nightmares and night terrors.
Oh yeah.
I, is that kind of like a PTSD type of thing with soldiers? I guess have Dr. Punch.
They have it a lot, PTSD. And what happened I remember the first time of hearing about it is when my brother went into war, into the Vietnam War. He went to Vietnam and he came back shell shocked. And he just, every time he would hear noise, he would jump and all this. And then he would have these reoccurring dreams about it. I'll get him, Joe. Don't worry. I'll shoot that so and so. And he would talk, in his sleep, and you can hear him.
Yeah.
And so, yes, yes.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'm a Vietnam veteran, and I was a combat
See?
platoon sergeant. Yeah, and I saw a little bit of action. I had a couple of nightmares, and tell you the truth, and tell the audience the truth. When I come back in '71, I had a couple of nightmares, and I was staying with my mom and dad, and those two nightmares that I had them about 2 weeks apart, and I thought, oh no, is this going to be the rest of my life? But actually, the nightmares, well, I think I willed them away. I willed those nightmares away, and I never had nightmares again. I had dreams, little dreams, but wouldn't mess me up too much. But I got away from that nightmarish thing by, like you're saying, manifesting, willing it away. I guess I was successful at doing that. Yeah.
You did that because at the time it was still in your mind. And sometimes memory will, what's the word, eliminate certain things after time goes by because so many other things start coming into your life to think about, good things and bad things. So you will never have that again. You're absolutely right. You might have a dream here and there, but you will never be in that state that you were in ever, never again.
Well,
It's over.
all of us ex-combat veterans are a little jumpy, like you said, your brother, we
Shell
get
shock. Yeah.
shell shocked. But uh, now, like I was just talking about, and you have a subject matter here, can we control our dreams? And I think we talked a little bit about that. But can soldiers control their PTSD, Doctor
I
Ponch?
think they can at a certain extent. They would probably have to talk to someone or get some help or try to fight it one way or another. But it's kind of hard to say with control. Yeah, we can control our dreams in a sense. Maybe let me see here. Let's see. Sorting out your experience in the dreams, your memories, trying to figure out why you were going through this, and then try to figure out how you can solve it or whatever. And I think if you control it and really think about it, I think you can make things happen in your waking experiences that you have, sorting out experience from today. It happens to the brain may turn it into a dream to make sense of it in a sense. Once you make sense of whatever it is, it's over and it moves on.
Yeah,
But I think the best thing for people to do is to get therapy a lot too, to talk to somebody that's gone through it,
you
that
do
know how to help you.
you do therapy, don't you, Doctor Ponch?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so you know how to, I mean, you know how to talk to people and get them in a dream state, not a dream state, but you use do you put them under, like you talked about the doc, uh,
Oh, hypnosis?
yeah, like Barbara
No,
Lamb.
I don't do hypnosis. I don't do that. I'm not trained in that.
Okay.
I always wanted to be, but I'm sort of like a therapist, like counselor type. And then, I can't tell people what to do with their lives, but I can give them directions
Mhm.
and maybe help them in a sense like that. Yeah.
Another topic, I've had psychics on my program, and I think it's hard for me to understand psychics, Dr. Ponch. I've had a hard time understanding them because I feel that everybody is psychic to a certain extent. You mentioned clairvoyance is a sixth sense. Could you tell us about these six senses that we have, Dr. Ponch, and explain that clairvoyance? Uh,
Okay.
does that give
We
us
have,
abilities?
yeah, we have six senses. We have what we call, and people know it as five: taste, smell, vision, hearing, touch. But the sixth sense is ESP, extrasensory perception. We all have it, but we haven't developed it out of fear. A lot of people that are, let's say, psychics or gypsies, whatever, they might have been trained with it. They learned how to use it because somebody taught them generations ago, and it's passed down and passed down that technique. But we all have a sixth sense. Sometimes religion wipes it out. Sometimes families might say, you don't know what you're talking about. And they kind of, put it in your mind like, oh yeah, you're right. And we all have a gut feeling about something. Ever had a gut feeling like, I don't
Oh,
think
yes. Yes.
that's your sixth sense. I better not do this. And you kind of go like, I got a funny feeling something's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's trying hard to come out, your extrasensory perception, but it hasn't been trained.
Yeah. I can say something spooky about Uri Geller's being on a show about 3 or 4 years ago. I was going to ask him some questions, and he said, Dave, stop right there. I know what questions you're going to ask me already. I said, what? These are out of the way questions. But he told me all three of them, and he answered them. And yeah, he did. He's good. He's for real. He's
I've
for
seen him
real.
on television,
Yeah.
and I don't know how, I think he was born with this from generation to generation.
Well, at 5 years of age, he had an ET experience in his
Oh, that's
yard,
what it is.
a bright blast of white, light that he was hit by, and he said ever since then
Oh,
he had this talent or abilities. But yeah, he's for real. And he worked with the CIA. He also knew Dr. Warner von Braun. He went and met him out in New Mexico. So
okay.
So he talked about some of that, but yeah, it was really interesting. But I still have a problem with psychics because I think a psychic is just using the talents that they're born with, or we all are born with. We have them. We're
Just
just
have
not
it development
we're not dusting them off and using them, right?
out of fear and religion. It could be a lot of reasons. And there's some psychics, I hate to talk about psychics because there's some good ones out there, but
Yeah,
there's some fake
yeah,
ones,
yeah.
that they're born like, oh, just a con artist, we're gonna get this or that. But we all had that ability, like I said. Now, if we all were to practice our ability, everybody in this world would be really good as a psychic. I mean, that would be amazing, but that'll never happen.
Hmm.
But I think in maybe another 100 years, there'll be way more people very, very psychic.
Will we be telepathically inclined in the next?
That's coming. That's coming. It'll be a while, but that's coming. And so it's happening now in certain places. I don't know. I heard that it's happening.
I know my wife can read my mind a lot of times. It's not
Oh,
always good.
oh, yeah, that's
Women,
right.
women are good at that. I don't know about men, but women are good at that. It's just I'll think about something. I think, oh, I need to get this or I need to get that, and then 5 minutes later she'll come to me. We'll buy that or we'll get that on the way to the store. She'll know what I'm thinking, and she has. Women are better at it than men, right, Dr.
Yes.
Ponch? You think?
Yes,
Yeah.
they are. They'll say, "You've been cheating. I know you have. I can sense it."
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll say that, or you want to go buy this thing. I know you're going to go buy it
Yeah.
without talking about it. Yeah, you're right. Women are really good with that.
Yeah. Uh, okay. Precognition and retrocognition, ability to see the past and then also ability to see the future events. And you were saying that that's a something that people are born with, or they get these messages in their sleep. How do we get all that, Dr. Pons?
Well, a dream is something that's going to probably tell us something. Like I said, you could have a psychic dream about something that's going to happen, a precognition of this is going to happen, which happened to me. I had a dream about, it's in my book. I was a little girl and I had this premonition that this boat was going to catch on fire.
Hmm.
And I talked about this, and people got on the boat, and it was a motorboat that had an inboard, outboard motor. It was a racing boat, and the boat was made out of fiberglass, like Corvette material, and the boat could go real fast. All of a sudden, in the vision, I could see this boat catching on fire. Now, I can't remember if I was in the boat or watching it happen. I can't not get this sense together.
Mhm.
And I've been trying to sort it out. And I could see people on the shore waving, and there was nothing they could do to get help. And the people on the boat couldn't swim.
Yeah.
No one could swim. So
Hmm.
people were jumping in. It was in a lake. So people were jumping out of the boat because they didn't want to get burned up. And I remember seeing all these other boats going around to help people and save people. But I kept telling people that this was going to happen because I saw it through a vision. But I was so young at the time, I can't remember if I was in the dream, if it happened to me, or if it was a real dream or what, because it was so vivid at that time.
Yeah.
And I did put that in the book
Okay.
about this.
Yeah, I will put that your book in the narrative. I also
Okay.
I got to apologize to you. I brought up Uri Geller and I threw you off track, and I wanted to get more into remote viewing, and maybe we'll come back. Well, let me ask you about remote viewing, Dr. Ponce. Now, in
Okay.
remote viewing, does a person actually send their essence to a location, or are they getting this information coming from the airwaves into their brain, Dr. Ponce?
They travel outside of one's body to a remote location. That's what they do. So the US and the Soviet Union used this for psychic spying at one time, using the mind sense information about an unseen subject. So what they would do, they would travel outside of their body to actually to that remote location, and then they would use telepathy, the ability to communicate with someone using only your mind. So let's say, for instance, I think at the time we were trying to figure something out, one country, and they were trying to figure it, and they had the best scientists in the world trying to figure out maybe what was the formula to something or what was the equation to something to do something. So they knew they couldn't get there. They couldn't go through security and all that. So they used the mind to get to that location and then they viewed it. Now, a lot of psychics can do that. I can't. I don't have that ability to do that. But I know there's a lot of psychics that have that ability to do that.
Yeah, it's that's something I would like to get into.
A lot of people like that one.
I want to talk about daydreams. A lot of people take this lightly about daydreams. How do we daydream? And are we kind of semi asleep, like during the day and we're not sleeping, Dr. Ponch?
Yeah, we have daydreams and they occur when you're awake and they're waking moments. And what happens? There are thoughts and imagined situations, and they can usually be very, very wishful in a sense or pleasant. And a lot of times you might look at someone on TV, your favorite entertainer, and you might say, "Oh, I wish I was that person up there. I like the moves, I like the way." And you could see yourself up on that stage and you're imagining, daydreaming. Oh, I'm going to buy that dress that she has. I got to figure out where did she get it. And you kind of want to look like that. And let's say the person is a singer, you might get like a hairbrush and daydream that you're using a
Yeah.
microphone or you're doing that. A lot of people daydream, and a lot of my students daydream. They do
Isn't it
because
is it some type of an escape from your dull life?
no, it's not that because it's not that it's dull. My lectures are so good
Oh
that
no,
when
no, no, I'm not saying your lecture. I'm gonna want to get in trouble here. Gee whiz.
oh,
No, I was saying that people daydream sometimes to escape their
they're
dull
boring
day
lives.
or their boring lifestyles. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Because a couple of my students one time when I was talking about something, I forgot what it was so good. Everybody was like really listening. They were daydreaming. And I could see them doing like this, really staring. And I said, hello. And they said, oh, I was thinking about what you were saying. And I could see myself doing that or being there and wishing it was me. So daydream is healthy.
Yeah.
It's very healthy.
I noticed you talked about a paranormal event when you was a child, and you really think it was real. You saw extraterrestrial, and you really thought you were awake, and you saw this. Now I'm getting into this epic dreams and lucid dreams. I know we talked about lucid dreams, but a lot of people who see ETs or visited by ETs or they dream about these ETs, those are lucid dreams. And I've had quite a few. And I wonder about epic dreams and lucid dreams. I know it says here a dream is a lucid when it feels vivid and real. That means you can talk to people or relate to people, Dr. Pons.
You're talking about the epic dream or the lucid dream? Which one did you
Lucid
say?
dream. Lucid dream first, and then
Okay.
we go to epic dream. Yes.
It's very, very extremely real. And unless you have control of what you want, it does that. And I would probably say about 20% of people once per month might have a lucid dream one time or another, about 20% of people. And the dream can last about maybe up to 10 minutes or so. And then while you're dreaming and you're asleep, the narrative of what's ever going on in that dream, you have control of it. And I have had this a lot because I've been in the dream where I'm kind of like looking at a TV and I see the dream going, but I'm in the dream as the star of the show, whatever. But I'm looking at myself and I'm going, oh, Ponch, what are you doing now? Let's change this and let's do this. So all of a sudden, me in the dream, I start doing this because I'm in control. I'm the director,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so real. Everything is so real and so vivid. It's like you know you're dreaming, but you can't believe you're dreaming because it's just too real.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, and the epic dream is basically the same. They're vivid type dream, and cannot be forgotten or
They
ignored.
cannot be forgotten or ignored. It's going to stay there.
That's what a
It's
lot
going
of
to stay.
experiencers have. They have those, and I do. I've had them. That's why I wanted to ask about those. And actually, can you believe our time is up? We're past an hour.
Oh, is it? Oh my goodness, you were right. You said it was going to be more than an hour, maybe, but I'm
Yeah,
gonna. It's been
yeah,
an hour.
yeah. It's
Okay,
been over an hour now. So yeah, so
okay.
we can close out. Or if you got something else you want to talk about that's on your list, don't let me stop you because I find this very interesting. It's a very interesting show, and you were so
Oh, thank
delightful in delivering
you.
this information, Dr. Punch. Really
Thank
enjoyed it.
you
So,
so
is
much.
there
I
something else you want to bring up about people that that need some kind of, I guess, positive thinking or dream or manifestation, and tell people what they can probably do to bring that about in themselves, Dr. Ponch?
I want to say to everyone, we all dream because people say they don't. They always say, I don't dream. I don't know anything about dreaming.
Yeah.
We all
Yes.
dream. We have hundreds of dreams a night. They might last 5 minutes or 20 minutes. Take your dreams seriously.
Hmm.
Don't say, I don't dream. A lot of times, if a person's been drinking a lot of alcohol or drugs, they might not remember the dreams because they're kind of like knocked out or whatever,
Right.
a blackout or sort. But we do have dreams. And sometimes you might have a dream about something. You might say, I never had dreams, but this night I had a dream and it's in my mind. Write it down. Get a journal and write it down.
Yeah,
And then,
like I said,
yeah,
I do the journal thing too, but afterwards, if I think it's going to be a real quickie dream that I might forget, I'll make a couple of notes beside the bed, but that's about it.
that's what I do.
Yeah.
And then the most common dreams that people have is they're falling or being chased or flying,
Mhm.
losing teeth, seeing a snake, a mouse, animals. People do have those type of dreams too,
What's it
but
mean to see a
always
snake?
falling. Yeah.
What's it mean to see a snake, Dr. Punch?
Let me look at my book.
I
Did you see
saw
it?
one. I saw one
Because
about 3 weeks ago, and I
okay,
thought,
because I got a lot of things on that one. Let me see. I'm going to see what I put in my book about it, but I do have a lot of stuff. A snake is not good.
yeah, that's what I heard.
It's not really good. And
He didn't bite me though. I mean, so
a snake could possibly be telling you that let's see if you can find a snake in here. It could be telling you that it could be a demon.
mm,
It could be a warning that there's a evilness or something around you or something bad could happen to you. I would take a snake very seriously.
really,
Very seriously, if especially if you keep having reoccurring dreams about a snake.
I don't have reoccurring dreams about a snake. I just had a dream 3 weeks ago, and I rarely ever
What did
dream
the
of a
snake
snake.
do?
Well, actually, I've actually seen a reptilian like you're talking. It was in my bedroom one time. It was standing up in a holographic form, and it looked like a cobra in the face. And I'm scared to death of cobras. I see them on TV, and I think, oh my God, I don't like these snakes. They're bad. But I saw one, in my room. I woke up 5:30 to go to the bathroom. I looked around. There he was, just standing there near my closet, and he disappeared after 5 or 7 seconds, and he just showed himself holographically. They do that like Avatar. They'll
Uh,
Yeah, that's what they do in our dreams too, don't they, Dr. Ponte? They come into our dreams
yeah,
like
they
maybe an
do.
avatar or holographic. Yeah.
Now, in my dream, I have here. If the dream was a nightmare, it could be a warning that you will have chosen to mask your fears. To step on snakes denote that there will be trouble ahead. To see a snake bite others foretells that some friend will be injured or criticize you. But snakes are fire medicine, and to dream of them will give you sometimes a passion or something else. So it can go one way or another.
Mhm.
And I know we're running out of time, but I
No,
just,
we're not running out of time. We can take a few minutes.
okay,
I I I used to do 2 hour shows, and they're too long, for anybody on the internet.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I try to break it down to an hour, but I always go past an hour because I find my guests so interesting, and I like them so much. I just keep going. I
Okay.
I want you to talk about now the thing that really kind of brought you here, the mystical dream book, deciphering lucid dreams and a premonition. Could you tell us a little bit about the book and where it's on sale at, and
Oh, okay.
let us know about that. And if you got to cover the book, I should have
Yeah,
got.
I do. This is, can you see it? Can you see it?
Yes, yes, I see it.
Okay,
Mystical
this
Dream
is the
Book.
front of it, and this is the back.
Mm,
And there's, you can see it?
yes, see it. Yeah, we got.
Okay. And
Uh,
there's about 112 pages.
yeah, give us a little synopsis about page one to
Okay.
112.
And
Go.
it's on Amazon
Yeah,
for
on
$12.50. What happened was I was told by a psychic that I was going to write a book. And I said, a book? Me write a book? I did a dissertation, no book. You will write a book. I said, what are we going to write about? Yourself. I said, I haven't done anything really famous or anything to really talk about me, my life, or whatever. They said, you have a gift. And I said, dreams. Said, write a book about dreams and research everything you know about it and just do what you can and use your psychology. Because in the book, I talk about Sigmund Freud when he talks about personality disorders.
right.
You remember that in school, the person when you went to college, personality, when they talk about schizoid, antisocial, borderline, histrionic,
Right.
and all those different type of personalities, because Sigmund Freud was the father of personality as well. He
Mhm.
talked about people's personalities. So I put it all in the book. And I also put in the book about the iceberg of our mind, which is the conscious level, the subconscious level, and the preconscious level and the unconscious level. There's three levels. Okay, right?
Mhm.
In the first level, we have thoughts and perceptions. We have thoughts. I have thoughts about you. I'm thinking something about you, and I have perception. That is called the ego. In
Mhm.
the second level, we have memories. We have memories about everything that we have in that second level, that subconscious level. And we have what we call stored knowledge because we stored everything in our memory, short-term memory,
Yeah.
long-term memory. Remember? And that's called the ego.
Mhm.
In the last level, the unconscious level, because this is the iceberg of Sigmund Freud, we have fears, wishful thinking, unmoral urges,
Mhm.
and that's called the eg or the ID. So we call it the eg gratification. So you might have shameful experience. Maybe you were incest by someone and you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to know, no, 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 no.
A lot of
Or
people.
you might have urges to kill somebody, but you repress those things. So I talk about all this in the book. So it's a lot of psychology in the book as well.
That's good. That's what a lot
So
of people want to know. They want to know the basis, just like me. What is the basis to all this unconscious thought and all these dreams and the lucid dreams?
because we have,
And why do they come to us? And what are they? You're explaining it quite well. I enjoyed going through all this.
thank
And
you.
you do have a website. I think I might have caught that on your. Do you have a website to?
No, I don't. I don't have that yet. I'm working on it.
Okay.
But I have an email address, but not a website yet.
All
But
right.
I also wanted to bring up with the personality, they call these clusters. They're called clusters, A, B, and C. So in that B cluster, we have what we call narcissistic, histrionic, borderline, and antisocial. These
Oh,
are the people that have no remorse,
mhm.
killers, no
Yes.
conscience. So I
Yeah.
put all that in the book.
Oh, that'll explain a lot of things. To
That explains a lot about your
yeah,
dreams.
and
Yeah.
a lot of criminals eat candy.
Yeah.
They eat
Mhm.
sweets, but I don't want to pick on the criminals. We got
Oh, no.
we got a lot of corruption out there, and we can't
Oh, we
measure
do.
it really.
I don't wanna
Yes,
talk
we
about
do.
that.
Yeah, I don't want to go into that.
No.
No, that's another show. But no, I really appreciate having you on the show.
Thank
Very
you.
entertaining and very knowledgeable thoughts that you put down here, and I know we could cover another hour of this and going into these different
Yeah.
aspects.
Maybe one day, because I am gonna write a second book.
Okay, good. But I can have you back. We have a mutual friend that I've had on the show, and she talks to you, and I'm
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy that she gave you a good reference on me, that I didn't embarrass her or anything. So
I'm
that's good.
very grateful to her, very grateful. She knows who she is.
Yeah, yeah, she does. She's really smart. She's like you. She's smart, and
Oh, thank you.
yeah, yeah. You know, you got a background, and you have a good character. I like that it comes off really good, and you're going to go places too.
I
Yeah,
hope so.
yeah,
I hope
yeah.
so.
And we've been here on Strange Reality with Dave Emmons and my guest, Dr. Ponch Lopez, and a great person. And take a look at her book. Look it up on Amazon. I'll have it in the narrative whenever I post the video within the next day or so. So I want to thank you, Dr. Ponch, for being on the show. Thank you so.
Thank you. And my little assistant over
And Angela, yeah, I don't want to forget Angela.
to everybody.
Yeah,
Come over and wave. Wave to
there
everybody.
she is. There she is. Yeah, Angela, thank you so much for
Thank
helping
you, sir.
Dr. Ponch. And but no, it was a great show, and I loved it. So on Strange Reality, you'll be on my website and also on YouTube and Facebook. So you'll be scattered all over the place. All righty,
Good
Dr.
things are going to
Ponch.
happen to you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. And this is
Bye now. Bye, everybody. Bye.
bye.
Bye.